Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk to you guys about embracing negative life circumstances. So oftentimes in life we have things we don't like. Our ego, your mind, is a very control-like freak, right? Your mind is always not pleased with something that's going on in your life, right? How many times in life are we not thrilled with what's happening in the economy, right? Or what's happening with our stock portfolio, or what's happening with people at our job, or my kids acting up, or my girlfriend's acting crazy, or it literally could be anything, right? Or I'm addicted to this drug. I can't get off this weed or this alcohol or this pornography, right? Like, your mind is always going to find faults in whatever you're dealing with, right? So how do you embrace that, and how does that kind of culminate to lead to a better life if you choose to embrace it and choose to fix your mind in a way where you see things as a positive that can lead to more wisdom, more knowledge, and a better way to handle things so that you're just a better leader and a better person? How do you do that? So let's talk about that. Embracing life challenges is one of the hardest things, right? Right now I'm dealing with, a lot of garbage at work, right? People are showing up late, people are calling out, people are, gossiping, drama, right? All sorts of shit. And it's nothing crazy, right? It's not like, hey, like this person's threatening to kill this person, but it's just petty human shit, right? Laziness and just petty, low conscious behavior from human beings, right? So how am I dealing with that? Well, look, if I have to stay behind because let's say someone calls out, or no one shows up, or whatever, right? Which is totally a real thing in the modern world, where people hate their jobs, the wages suck, right? How can I ask myself, like, how can I benefit from this? How can this teach me something, and what can I benefit from this, right? Because it's easy to look at, like, for example, having to work like a 12-hour day when you wanted to go home and do something else, right? And look at that and be like, yo, this sucks. This is awful. Like, how could this be me, right? And I'll tell you what, what's the biggest thing that will cause more suffering in your life? Going against the flow, right? Like right now, the flow is just working a lot of hours for me, right? The flow is just dealing with whatever staffing situation is happening right now, right? To the best of my ability. That's what the flow is, right? Now, look, if I was to try to go against that, right, and be like, nah, fuck this, like, these people suck, and start arguing with my boss, or start self-sabotaging when I get home because I don't like how people are acting in my workplace, well, that's me not benefiting from the situation, right? That's me losing to life circumstances. You always want to look at life circumstances as, how can I take a win from this, right? So me, the way I look at it is, hey, you know what? With all these hours that I'm working, I can throw a little bit, and with the stock market right now, I can throw some money into there, right? Low ass prices, right? Prices haven't come down for, quite some time, right? So how do I benefit from this? Well, guess what? I can buy some prices. I can save up to pay off my house. I can save up to buy a real estate property. There's so many different things that I can do, or I can work towards, that I can use this money for, so that it's not such an overbearing negative thing in my mind that would destroy me, right? That would destroy the average person, which oftentimes happens. So I got to look at it like, how can this help me? How can this help me learn, right? And another way too, dealing with people showing up late, dealing with people arguing and gossiping, that develops more of a leadership quality in me, because now I'm able to have tough conversations, right? I can work on my communication skills, right? So oftentimes, when things are perfect, right? When things are going well, you don't have to develop things. You don't have to develop certain character traits. You don't have to develop certain skills. How can I work on my tough conversation skills, right? So I'm looking at it like that. Like, what can I learn from this? Always ask yourself, right? And I'm using my circumstance as a example, but always ask yourself, like, what can you learn from this, right? You ask yourself all the time the two things: how can this benefit me, and what can I learn? Sometimes it might not benefit you, right? Like a divorce, oftentimes doesn't benefit the guy, right? If you don't sign the prenup or whatever, and she takes everything, or even takes half, or you get to pay child support, alimony, whatever, that doesn't benefit you, right? Because that's a financial liability. But you can learn something from it, so you don't make that mistake again, right? And you can go into a next relationship and possibly have a better outcome, right? So always ask those two questions whenever you don't know what's going on in life, or you're frustrated, or you just don't like how the exterior reality of your life is unfolding. If you don't like it, you have to ask those two questions. So yeah, I mean, it's not easy, because our ego, like I said, your ego is a control freak. And oftentimes, especially the younger you are, the more you are prone to instant gratification, impatience. You don't want to work hard. You don't want to see the long-term implications of what you're doing, right? And that can lead to a lot of dissatisfaction. That can lead to a lot of frustration. But I'm here to show you guys that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And at the end of the day, everything you're dealing with comes and goes. I've dealt with the shit I'm dealing with right now, I dealt with last year, right? So if I dealt with it last year, I can deal with it again. Same thing for you in your life, right? If you dealt with it before, you can deal with it again, right? Overcoming like a vice or something, right? Like, how can that benefit me? Well, God is building virtue in me. God is building self-control. God is teaching me how to be more sufficient, how to use my mind, right? Like, if you're addicted to porn, or you're addicted to weed or alcohol, right? You're not going to live out your full potential at all, right? If you don't have any vices, then you have to learn how to manage yourself, right? You have to learn how to transmute your sexual energy. You have to learn how to be creative, how to do well in your career, right? You have to learn to face life in a sober state, right? So whenever you're dealing with a vice, that's how you can look at a vice and say, hey, this is what I'm dealing with, but this is what I'm working towards, and this is the desired outcome of how I can operate in life when I overcome it, or as I'm overcoming it, right? So guys, listen, man, suffering is embedded into into creation, right? There's no escaping suffering, but the way you look at suffering is going to be key to your success, right? Because a lot of people everyone suffers, right? Everyone suffers, but your suffering is going to be different based off of how you move forward from it and how you learn from it, right? And it's not to say that you're making mistakes. About me right now, working extra hours. Am I making the mistake? No, my people are just lazy. My people just don't want to show up, right? So it's not even me who's causing my own suffering. Sometimes, guys, it is really frustrating when you're not the one causing your suffering, right? If it's okay, I'm causing my suffering because I'm addicted to porn, I can't control myself. Okay, yeah, I'm a little pissed off because it's or I'm not as mad because hey, I can control that, right? Or I can be hey, that's my responsibility, right? It's a little bit harder when it's other people, right? In the example I've been using throughout this video. So, suffering is inherent. You're going to suffer. You're going to be tired. Tiredness, fatigue, working long hours is a form of suffering, right? And you have to push through that. There's no other way through the obstacle. There's no way around the obstacle. You can only go through the obstacle in life, right? So that's how you got to view things. And when you start to frame your mind and deal with things that way, whatever comes after that, whatever tough thing arises in the future, you'll be able to handle it much more better, much more. You'll be much more equipped to handle it in a better fashion, let's say. And then that's how, I think a lot of people that are really successful find success. It's we all suffer. We all go through fatigue. We all go through overthinking. We all go through trials and tribulations with people and gossip and different stupid petty human dealings. We all go through that, right? And that causes suffering. But again, it's what other choice do you have? That's kind of the big picture here. It's you don't have a choice. You have to deal with it and figure out how I'm gonna be better from it. Because again, it's you can avoid reality, right? I use this quote a lot. I really like this quote by Ayn Rand. You can avoid reality, but you can't avoid the consequences of avoiding reality. So if you keep trying to go against the flow, if you keep trying to deny what's happening in front of you, right? And cry about it, that's really how a child would behave. Oh, you know, a kid, like they don't get their iPad or they don't get the food they want, they start crying. That's like you when life hits, right? Metaphorically speaking. And I don't know about you, but I'm not trying to be a child. I don't want to behave like a child, right? That's not how you're going to grow. That's not how you're going to mature. And that's definitely not how you're going to attain any sort of success or extreme financial reward in life. So anyways, guys, that's it. That's all. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe. If you guys have any questions, comments, feel free to leave them down below. And as always, I will talk to you guys soon. Peace.